Hello, hello, high level listeners. We are so excited to be back with a brand new season of our vocabulary podcast here on High Level Listening. This is our podcast where we help you understand side by side American and British English. So, if you're looking for fun English conversations and real life language with real English teachers, where we help you understand and learn more vocabulary in English, you've come to the right place. To start off, season 4, we're talking about something simple but very important, your morning routine. Today's episode is all about those busy mornings when you're in a rush, you forget something, and your day starts a little off. Don't worry, we've all been there.
Yes, that's right. So in this episode, like every Monday, we'll each tell a short story about a morning that didn't go exactly as planned. And then we'll go back through the scripts again to break everything down so you can learn all the new naturally spoken vocabulary, helpful phrases, and natural grammar that you can use to talk about your daily routine in high-level English. And as always, if you want more support, you can join us as a high-level listening member here on YouTube. That way you can get our PDF transcripts. And for this season, we've added a new tier. This is high-level vocabulary member, and that includes the transcripts, a study pack, a new picture vocabulary list every Monday, and some more things as well. You can check out the link to get that in the description below. Okay, so here we go. This is the first script of the season. Kat, tell us, what happened to you this morning?
So, I was totally rushing this morning. I guess I hit snooze one too many times. And by the time I rolled out of bed, I was already running behind. I barely had time to throw something on and grab my bag. I didn't mean to skip breakfast again, and honestly, just hoped I could grab something quick on my way into work. Of course, I got stuck behind a huge line of people, so I couldn't even do that. Total fail. On top of all that, I didn't even realize I left my lunch in the fridge until I got to work. So yeah, not exactly the smoothest start to the day.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty rough. I've had mornings like that too, though.
So what about you, Mark? I hope that this morning was way better off than mine was.
Yes. Well, not exactly. I had a bit of a mad dash myself. Slept straight through my alarm, which is never a good start. I scrambled out of bed and just chucked on whatever clothes I could find. I didn't even have time for a proper breakfast. Just grabbed a banana and legged it out the door. I was halfway down the street by the time I realized I'd left my wallet sitting on the kitchen counter. Brilliant. So I went back, missed my train. So I was just standing there on the platform, hot and bothered and late, thinking, yeah, classic Monday. Honestly, I don't think it could have gone much worse.
No, we've had pretty terrible mornings, if I'm honest.
Right? Yes, doesn't matter where we're from, we're both having rough times. Okay, so now, like we promised, we're going to go back through our scripts again, and we're going to highlight useful grammar and vocabulary, and then any cultural or language differences between British and American English with our little flags. So, Kat, how was your morning?
Well, so I was totally rushing this morning. I guess I hit snooze one too many times, and by the time I rolled out of bed, I was already running behind. Ooh, we've got a lot of good vocabulary. Let's kind of start with a couple of the words. I was rushing. I hit snooze. I rolled out of bed and I was running behind. So, 4 really good vocabulary words. I was rushing, and that means I was moving fast. I was, oh my gosh, I'm late. So I'm trying to pick up the speed. I'm trying to go faster than normal. So I'm rushing. I was totally rushing this morning. I guess, maybe, I'm pretty sure I hit snooze one too many times. At night, if you want to wake up at a certain time, you set your alarm, okay? 5 a.m., okay? 6 a.m. But when you hear it in the morning, your alarm is going off, and there's a little button at the bottom that says snooze. So I hit snooze. That means I get 9 more minutes and my alarm goes off again. I hit snooze one too many times. And by the time I rolled out of bed, that feeling, ugh, finally get out of bed. Literally, I rolled out of bed. I was already running behind. Running behind is a great phrase instead of the word late. I was already late. I was already running behind. I'm running behind schedule. I'm already running behind. I was already running behind. So, Mark, I hope that you had a much better morning than I did.
Not exactly. I had a bit of a mad dash myself, slept straight through my alarm, which is never a good start.
No, it isn't.
So, yeah. Did I have a better morning? No, or not exactly. This is a common when you're telling a story to say, no, not exactly. Like, did you have a good time? Not exactly. Or was it cheap? Not exactly. So this means I'm about to give you some bad news or tell you a bad story. I had a bit of a mad dash myself. I think I'll wave my own flag here. Mad.
That's a good idea.
Mad is common in the UK. If something is a bit mad, then it's a bit crazy, fast, or rushed, or disorganized. So the train station was mad, means it's full of people and it's very busy. If I had a mad dash, that means I was moving very quickly, like out of control, not organized. So I had a mad dash. You might say the school run was a mad dash. Getting ready was a mad dash. That just means you're in a hurry and a little bit crazy. Kat mentioned that she hit snooze, which means that she woke up and pushed the button, but not me. I slept straight through my alarm. So I was there, my alarm was going beep, 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 and I didn't wake up. I didn't open my eyes. So I slept through my alarm. That's the preposition. If you don't wake up and you don't push the button, I slept through it. And when you wake up, you realize you're late. That's a horrible feeling, which is never a good start. What you want in the morning is a good start. If you have a good start, it means you wake up on time, you go through your morning routine smoothly, but I didn't have a good start. Not exactly. So after you hit snooze and finally rolled out of bed, what did you do next?
Well, I barely had time to throw something on and grab my bag. I like this phrase, to throw something on. To throw something on. Now, you've heard the phrase to put on your clothes. Well, if you throw something on, you really don't think about what you're getting dressed in. You really don't think about the clothes that you're wearing. You just throw something on. So I barely had time, barely, very, very, very little. Okay. I barely had time to do this. I barely had time to eat. I barely had time to get a coffee. I barely had time to help the kids get ready. I barely had time to throw something on. Okay, a blouse. Okay, a skirt and some shoes. All right, I'm not even thinking about what I'm wearing. I had to just throw something on and grab my bag. Americans love this phrase, grab. We're really going fast here. Okay, let's go. So when you grab something, I really think it's kind of fast too. So I barely had time to throw something on, put on those clothes very quickly without even thinking about it, and grab my bag. What about you, Mark? Did you have time to get dressed? I can't believe you slept through your entire alarm.
Yep, I scrambled out of bed and just chucked on whatever clothes I could find. So in Kat's side, she said, I rolled out of bed. That sounds quite tired and sleepy and slow. My morning was a bit more panicked because I woke up, saw the time, and oh my God, I scrambled out of bed. If you scramble, it can mean that you run very fast, or you move suddenly very quickly. Like they use it in the military when you have to get ready right now. You might scramble out the door or scramble out of bed. And that's what I did. I threw off the covers, jumped out, and I basically ran through my house, scrambled out of bed. I also kind of think of being on all fours. I'm like on my hands and knees, like a kid, scrambling out of bed. And I just chucked on whatever clothes I could find. Yes. That gets a flag because in the UK, yes, we like to use the word.
Much more common.
chuck.
Much more common. We
Exactly.
scramble out of bed. That's Mark going fast. We can roll out of bed. And then if you're going to chuck something on, that sounds quite British.
Yes, chuck can mean to put, to throw. Cat used throw something on. I chucked something on. So I just chucked on whatever clothes I could find. So the first clothes that I saw, I put them on. I chucked them on. This means I didn't think about it too much because I'm late. Just chuck it on and go downstairs. Okay, back to your side, Kat. What about breakfast? Did you have time for any of that?
I didn't mean to skip breakfast again. And honestly, just hoped I could grab something quick on the way into work. So I didn't mean to, meaning I really didn't want to, right? I didn't mean to. That wasn't what I wanted. I didn't mean to skip breakfast. If you skip something, you don't do it, okay? So if you skip your breakfast, if you skip breakfast, then you hopped over it. You didn't eat it. You didn't do it, okay? So I didn't mean to skip breakfast. Again, whoops. And honestly, just hoped I could grab something quick on the way into work. There's that word again, grab. Grab something. Now, I don't mean to grab and just put it in my mouth, but, I'll choose something, pay for something, go to a drive-through, probably to eat. On the way into work. On the way into work. So on the way, meaning I left my house. I'm on the way to work. Okay. I'm traveling. I'm on the way. I'm on my way. And then on the way, maybe I can stop, grab something quick. Maybe I could grab something quick on the way into work or on the way to work, meaning kind of on my route from my house to work, somewhere in between.
You think a lot of American people do that? They get something on the way into work?
Yeah. That's
Right.
why do you think Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and all of these drive-through places are so packed in the morning, right?
Right. Yeah, when you said drive-through, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I know. Americans, we're all in our cars. So at least we're in the car, right? Even if we're late, at least we're in the car. That's my reasoning, at least. What about you, Mark? Did you get a chance to eat anything?
Not really. I didn't even have time for a proper breakfast. Just
Oh, no.
grabbed a banana and legged it out the door. So I didn't even have time for a proper breakfast. Right. A proper. Yeah, I think British people like this word a lot. We want a proper meal. When I say a proper meal, it can mean like authentic with like the original ingredients, or proper can be a big, substantial, like enough to fill my stomach and give me some energy for the day. So a proper breakfast would have a lot of healthy things to give me energy for the day, or a proper fry up will be a nice big English breakfast with enough to fill me up and all these nice ingredients.
I want to also, we do use the word proper, but can you give us the pronunciation, Mark?
Proper.
Proper. And in kind of the more American English, I would say proper, a proper breakfast. And I use it in the same way as Mark does, but probably not as often as they do in England. We have another pronunciation difference. Maybe you can tell us, Mark, what the next word is.
Oh, yes. I grabbed a banana.
A banana.
Yep. Banana, that curved yellow fruit. You know, the one in the British accent. It is banana. How do you say it?
Banana.
Right, goes
if
up
I'm
the
really,
nose.
really American, banana. But I probably just say banana. And you say
Okay.
banana. Banana.
Banana. Yes, right. Yeah, it's one of those weird English words where the letter A is pronounced differently, but 3 different ways. But yeah, I just grabbed a banana. So that's not a proper breakfast. That's only one piece of fruit. It's not really enough to fill me up all the way till lunch. But I didn't have time for a proper breakfast. I just grabbed a banana and legged it out the door. So I legged it. Yes.
You legged it. What do you mean you legged it? What on earth?
I used my legs and I ran out the door. I legged it out the door. This is a very casual, colloquial British phrase. I often think of when someone's in trouble and the police show up. You're like, quick, leg it. Like, run away. Or we legged it to the train station and just got the train. Or we had to leg it back because we were late. So if you're running fast, you are
Use those legs.
Okay.
Use those legs. Run.
Right, leg it. Okay. So you managed to grab something along the way. What happened after that?
Well, of course, I got stuck behind a huge line of people, so I couldn't even do that. Total fail. Total fail. Of course, this would happen to me, right? I'm late, and then, of course, something bad would happen. I got stuck. I didn't really do it. I got stuck, right? I got stuck in traffic. I got stuck behind a huge line of people. Maybe I'm trying to go to the coffee shop. Maybe I'm trying to go through the drive-through, and there's a huge line of people, huge line of cars. Maybe I walked into the cafe to try to order inside, and there is a huge line of people. So, I got stuck behind a huge line of people. Mark, wait, what's so British about that? Or what's so American about that?
It's not super American, but in the UK, I would probably say a huge queue of people.
Okay.
It could be a queue of cars or a queue of people standing. Either
Got
way,
it.
that's just an
A
alternative.
queue.
I could say
A queue. A huge line or a huge queue of people. So I couldn't even do that. Remember, I had hoped, right? I had hoped I could grab something quick on the way into work. I couldn't even do that. Now, when I say I couldn't even do that, meaning that felt like something simple. Eat your breakfast, right, Kat? Eat your breakfast. No, bare minimum, the minimum, I couldn't even do that. Total fail. Total fail. All right. Total
epic fail.
means I was not successful. Was not successful. Yep. Total fail. Yep. I am not good at anything. I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even get a little breakfast. What happened to you, Mark? What happened next?
Well, I was halfway down the street by the time I realized I'd left my wallet sitting on the kitchen counter.
Oh,
Brilliant. So this is a great storytelling section because when we tell stories, we tend to use tenses like the past continuous and the past perfect to let you know what happened before and what was happening. So what was happening? I was walking down the street, or I was halfway down the street by the time I realized I had left my wallet.
Oh.
I'd left my wallet. That means that before I started walking, I left my wallet in the kitchen. So that happened before.
Yes.
I realized I had left it. So I'm using the past perfect to show you that I left the wallet first, then I was walking. So I was halfway down the street by the time I realized earlier I had left my wallet sitting on the kitchen counter. So I know sitting is usually sitting in a chair or sitting on a bench, but we also use this word when objects are just on a surface. So the coffee cup is sitting on the table, my cup is sitting on there, my wallet was sitting on the kitchen counter. So we can use that word for objects and people.
It was just waiting for you. It was just sitting there thinking, you forgot me. You forgot me. You forgot me.
Uh-oh, how is he going to get the train? Yeah, so brilliant. Eh? Brilliant. So obviously
Completely.
not.
Yeah, great job, Mark. Great job.
Right? Yeah. Brilliant. So Obviously, this is not good. This is not excellent. This is not brilliant. This kind of humor is called sarcasm, where you say the opposite. So I was late. I slept through my alarm. Only had a banana for breakfast. Brilliant. People, especially British people, will say this anytime something bad happens. You can make a joke about yourself and your own bad story by using some sarcasm. So tell a bad story and then go, brilliant, eh? And you might make some British people laugh with that. Okay, back to your side of the story, Kat. Did anything else go wrong at your rough morning?
Well, on top of all that, I didn't even realize I left my lunch in the fridge until I got to work. So, yeah, not exactly the smoothest start to the day. Now, instead of being sarcastic like Mark, because I said, well, it's not exactly the smoothest start to the day, but I'll say it with a smile as like, well, well, what else could go wrong? Right? So I think Mark will say the words in the opposite way, but we'll have a smile on our face when we're saying something bad, right? So on top of all that, this is a really good way to say something bad happened, and guess what? On top of all that, another bad thing is happening. So on top of all that, I didn't even realize I left my lunch in the fridge until I got to work. So Mark had this realization. Okay, he left his wallet. He walked down the street. He realized. Okay, for me, I left my lunch in the fridge. I got to work, and then I realized. I know the sentence doesn't quite put it in that order, but I didn't even realize, okay, I left my lunch in the fridge. That's the first thing that happened. I left my lunch in the fridge. I got to work, and then I realized. I didn't even realize I left my lunch in the fridge until I got to work. Oh, man.
That's way worse.
Oh,
You're way further away from your lunch
Oh, right.
than
I'm
I am
so
from my
far away.
wallet.
I'll never get it back.
Right.
So yeah, not exactly the smoothest start to the day.
Cool.
So it sounds like, Mark, you had to go back, right?
Yeah. So I went back, missed my train. So I was just standing there on the platform, hot and bothered and late, thinking, yeah, classic Monday. So I realized I had left my wallet on the kitchen counter. So I went back to my house. I missed my train. So I was just standing there. Again, I'm using the past continuous. I was just standing. That's what I was doing and thinking at the time. And I was on the platform, hot and bothered. If you are kind of hot because you've been stressed, because you've been running, because you've just had a very crazy time and you're not comfortable, you're not enjoying it, and maybe you can't think very clearly either, you can be hot and bothered. You think of someone after they... Is that a flag?
I'm going to flag you on that one. The only reason I'm going to flag you really quickly and tell you is because if you say this in the United States, people might think you're romantically involved with somebody.
You're excited.
You're excited and you are romantically involved. So I'm going to put we don't say it like that.
Right. Okay.
We don't always say it like that.
It can go both ways in the UK as well, but it's perfectly innocent also.
Okay.
To just say, yeah,
not so innocent in the United States. It's a good way to put it.
Exactly. Fair enough. And yeah, so I was standing there, hot and bothered, late, thinking, yeah, classic Monday. Classic Monday. Mondays are usually the worst day of the week. You don't want to go back to work and you sort of don't remember your routine after just 2 days. So yeah, classic Monday. And honestly, I don't know if it could have gone much worse. So I'm using the past modal, could have gone. If I try to imagine a different morning in the past, I can try to imagine it with it could have been like this. It could have gone better. It could have gone worse. This one was really bad. So many things went wrong. I don't know if it could have gone much worse. That means I can't even imagine a worse Monday. What?
Womp womp. Okay, now that we've explained everything, let's hear our scripts fully once more. So I was totally rushing this morning. I guess I hit snooze one too many times, and by the time I rolled out of bed, oh, sorry, my tongue is all. So I was totally rushing this morning. I guess I hit snooze one too many times, and by the time I rolled out of bed, I was already running behind. I barely had time to throw something on and grab my bag. I didn't mean to skip breakfast again. And honestly, I just hoped I could grab something quick on the way into work. Of course, I got stuck behind a huge line of people, so I couldn't even do that. Total fail. On top of all that, I didn't even realize I left my lunch in the fridge until I got to work. So yeah, not exactly the smoothest start to the day.
And here's my script one more time. Not exactly. I had a bit of a mad dash myself, slept straight through my alarm, which is never a good start. I scrambled out of bed and just chucked on whatever clothes I could find. I didn't even have time for a proper breakfast, just grabbed a banana and legged it out the door. I was halfway down the street by the time I realized I'd left my wallet sitting on the kitchen counter. Brilliant. So I went back, missed my train, so I was just standing there on the platform, hot and bothered and late, thinking, yep, classic Monday. Honestly, I don't know if it could have gone much worse. Okay, so now it's your turn. We want to hear from you. Have you ever had a morning where everything went wrong, or maybe just one little thing in the morning kind of threw off your whole day?
Try writing a few sentences about your rushed morning using some of the phrases you learned today. You can keep it simple, or you could make it kind of funny like we did. Post your short story in the comments below and we'll check them out. You might even hear your example in a future episode.
Yes, and don't forget, if you want to keep learning with us, you can check out the study pack for this season and this episode as well. It has the full transcript, it's got listening activities, a word list with lots of good examples, and an ad-free MP3 version of this episode as well.
Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll see you next time on High Level Listening.
Bye.